Real world, I got battered on the North Shore. It gave me comfort when I always knew that. You were there for me next door. I lived it hard on the long road. I ran through every single zip code. I get lonely, but I always knew that. Your heart.
How are you doing, math learners? This is your free access YouTube edu creator, math teacher Ash. And today, we are going to have a new reviewer series in preparation for the second quarter examinations. Now, in this video, we will focus on the questions on the competencies for our beloved grade 8 students. Alright, so if you are new to the channel, please click the subscribe button and notification bell for you to be updated of these school clear math videos just like this. So students, I advise you to get your pen and paper and try to answer all of the questions. Whatever you get in this reviewer series, kindly share it in our comments section below. So without further ado, let's do this. Question number 1. Which of the following inequalities represent a linear inequality in two variables? Is it A, ax plus by is greater than or equal to c? Letter B, ax plus by squared is greater than or equal to c? Or C, x is less than negative 7? Or letter D, y is less than or equal to positive 3? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, what is asked in the problem here is that we are finding an inequality in which it is in two variables and it is focused on linear. So when we say linear, it is in the first degree. So therefore, letter B is wrong because we have a squared here. It is in the degree of 2. So letter B is wrong. Alright. Now, since we are finding two variables, letter C and letter D are inequalities but only tackles on one variable. So letter C is wrong, letter D is wrong. So our correct answer is letter A. Easy, right? Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 2. Which is not a symbol of linear inequality? Is it A, equals, B, greater than or equal to, C, less than or equal to, or letter D, less than? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, this is another easy question for us because talking about inequality, inequality means in, not, equality, equal. So not equal. So among here, there is only one symbol that represents equal, and that is letter A. So letter A is the symbol that is not a part of inequality. Alright, we are correct. Easy, right? My dear math learners, very easy. So now let us go to question number 3. What is the graph of a linear inequality? Is it A, a half plane, B, a parabola, C, a complete circle, or letter D, a straight line? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, in this question, we are talking about linear inequality. So, talking about graph in different functions, basically, a parabola is for the quadratic equation. So, this is wrong, letter B. A complete circle is, of course, for functions that pertains on circles. So, letter C is also wrong. Now, talking about linear inequality, linear can be a straight line, but since we are talking about inequality, a straight line is only focused for linear equation and not linear inequality. So therefore, the correct answer is letter A. Alright. Easy, right? Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 4. Which of these best describes a linear inequality? Is it A, an equation making a line when graphed, B, a line of non-congruent segments, C, often written as ax plus by is equal to c, or letter D, inequality in the form ax plus by is less than or equal to c with real values for a, b, and c? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, we are finding again linear inequality. So as we can see, among the 4 choices, there is an equal sign here. So letter C is automatically the wrong answer. Of course, letter A also pertains to equation. So So therefore, it is also the wrong answer. Now, where is the linear inequality here, or which statements describes the linear inequality? Of course, the correct answer is letter D, because the linear inequality in two variables expresses this form in which A, B, and C are real values. So the correct answer is letter D. All right. Easy, right? Very easy, my dear math learners. Now let us go to question number 5. Which type of graph represents a linear inequality? Is it A, this one, B, this one, C, this one, or letter D, this one? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. All right, my dear math learners, as you can see in this question, we have here inequality in two variables. We already discussed earlier that the graph of a linear inequality is a half plane. So as you can see here, x and y represents the two variables, right? So there is an x-axis and a y-axis. So therefore, letter B is wrong. All right. Now we only have A, C, and D. Now, in letter D, this is just two equations or two graphs for an equation for two equations that is both a linear function, not a linear inequality. So therefore, letter D is wrong. Now, how about letter C? Now, we are talking here a linear inequality in two variables. So we are talking about one linear inequality. Okay, so if it is one, then the half plane that represents here is, of course, letter C. All right, my dear math learners. Easy, right? Very easy. So now let us go to question number 6. A model for writing a linear inequality into variables includes A, ax plus by is less than C, B, ax squared plus by is equal to C, C, x plus y is equal to C, or D, x is equal to y. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, this question is one of the easiest questions. Why? Because among the 4 given choices, there is only one inequality here because the 3 shows equal signs or uses the equal sign. So, we have here equal, equal. So, therefore, there is only one inequality and that is letter A. So, letter A is our correct answer. Alright. I hope you got that one, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 7. If a graph passes the vertical line test, it implies letter A, one-to-many correspondence, B, one-to-one function, C, similar sets for domain and range, or letter D, a relation, not a function. Okay, I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, in this question, if a graph passes the vertical line test, it means that it is a function because the vertical line test is used in order to know whether a given graph is considered a function or not. So therefore, when it passes the vertical line test, letter D is already wrong. Okay. Now, how about letter A? One-to-many. Now, one-to-many correspondence is basically a relation and not a function. So, letter A is also wrong. The correct answer here is one-to-one function. Alright, so letter B. Now, how about letter C? Similar sets for domain and range. If you have similar sets for domain, then it also pertains not a function. Alright. So I hope that is clear, my dear math learners. Now let us go to question number 8. Which sets defines a function? Is it A, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, B, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, C, 5, 6, 5, 7, 5, 8, or letter D, 6, 7, 7, 8, 7, 9. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, so the question here is, which among this given set defines a function? Remember that in order for a given set to become a function, there should only be one-to-one correspondence or many-to-one correspondence, not one-to-many. So basically, my dear math learners, the rule here is that the value of the x-axis or the x-coordinate, the abscissa, okay, the x-coordinate should not be repeating. So let's check. Letter A, 1, 1, and 1. That's repeating, so this is wrong. Letter B, 2, 3, 4. So it is not repeating. Might be our answer. Letter C, 5, 5, 5. It is repeating, so that is wrong. Letter D, 6, 7, 7. So 7 here is repeating. Therefore, the correct answer is letter B. All right. Now, let us go to question number 9. What does it mean if m is a function of n? A. M depends on n. B. N depends on m. C. Both m and n are independent. Or letter D. M and n are unrelated. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners. The statement m is a function of n basically is m is dependent on n. Okay, so the value of m refers or is dependent upon the value of n. So whatever n you put, the m will be depending on it. So basically, that is letter A. Alright. Easy, right? Very easy, my dear math learners. Now, let us go to question number 10. A worker earns a base rate of 200 pesos plus 50 pesos per hour of overtime. The overtime here is it A, constant, B, dependent variable, C, independent variable, or letter D, function? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, in answering this question, basically, we have here a worker has the base rate of 200 pesos. So it means whatever the workers do, whether he overtimes or not, he has a base rate of 200. So that is constant. Okay, very good. Now, the question here is not the 200. The question here is the overtime. So that is the 50 pesos per hour of overtime. So what do you call this 50 pesos per hour? Okay, so basically, my dear math learner, if that is the case, then whatever the worker earns, that will be the dependent variable. But the number of overtime he works in a given job or project, then that is what we call the independent variable. So basically, that is the value of x. All right, so we are correct, my dear math learner. Now, if we wanted to make this as a function, then that would be the f of x is equal to 50x plus 200, where 200 is the constant for his rate, and the 50 pesos is depending on the number of x hours he will be working. So the x there is the overtime, and that x there is the what we call independent variable. Easy, right? Very easy, my dear math learners. And I just want to congratulate you, my dear math learners, because we have finished the first part of our reviewer series. Now let us go to question number 11. Which table shows a linear function? Is it A, this table, B, this table, or C, this table, or letter D, this table? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, how do we know which of this is a linear function? Now, remember, my dear math learners, that a linear function could be increasing or decreasing. So, basically, if you check your values of y, which is this one, the f of x, the value should either be increasing or decreasing. Okay, so in order for it to become a linear function. So, as we can see here, 4, 1, 0. So, that is decreasing. Alright, going down. However, we have 1 and 4. So it's increasing. So basically, it is not uniform that this, the trend of this given table of values is decreasing. So letter A is wrong. All right. How about letter B? 1, 0. It is decreasing. Then, positive 1, positive 4, positive 9. So from decreasing going to increasing, this is also not a linear function. How about letter C? Positive 4, negative 2, negative 4. So that is decreasing, all right? However, negative 4 to negative 2, that is increasing, then going to positive 4. So this is also wrong. This is not a linear function. So basically, the correct answer is letter D. Why? Because we have here negative 21, negative 11, so it is increasing. Positive 4, increasing again. Positive 14, increasing again. Positive 19, increasing. So basically, we got our answer. Easy, right? Very easy, my dear math learners. So now, let us go to question number 12. Which of the following is the graph of the linear equation whose x-intercept is negative 2 and y-intercept is negative 1? Is it A, this graph, B, this graph, C, this graph, or letter D, this graph? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners. So what we need to do here is just see whether the point -2 in the x-axis and the point -y in the y-axis is hit by the graph. So we have here positive 2 for x. This is wrong. Alright, wrong. How about here? Positive 1 for y. This is the y-axis. It is positive 1. That is also wrong. How about this one? The x here is -2. That's correct. The y is -1. That's correct. So this is our correct answer, my dear math learners. Alright, so how about letter D? Letter D has an x-axis of -1. However, our question is -2. So this is also wrong. Easy, right? Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 13. What point does the constant function f of x is equal to -3 pass through? Is it A, -2, -3, B, -2, +3, C, +3, +3, or D, -3, +2? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, when we have a constant function f of x is equal to -3, it means that our y-intercept is -3. So, our graph is basically a line that is parallel to the x-axis, and it is just a horizontal line in the -3. So all points with an ordinate or a y value of -3 is the correct answer. So where is a -3 for y here? All right. So we have here letter A. That is the correct answer. Easy, right? Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 14. If y is equal to 5x minus 3, find y when x is equal to 2. All right, very easy. Is it A, 13, B, +10, C, +9, or D, +7? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, very easy for this question. So I'll just show you a solving for this so that you can have a clear understanding on how to solve this one. So what we do here is this one, this value of x here will be substituted by the +2. So that will become 5, right, times x, which is +2 minus 3. So 5 times 2, that is 10. Minus 3. So basically, the value is 7. Alright, so we got our correct answer, and that is 7. Let's check whether we are correct. Alright, my dear math learners. Easy, right? Very, very easy. So now, let us go to the next question. Question number 15. A taxi charges 20 pesos as a base fare plus 10 pesos per kilometer. The equation that represents this is letter A, y is equal to 10x plus 20. B, y is equal to 20x plus 10, C, y is equal to 10x minus 20, or D, y is equal to 20x minus 10. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, now as you can see here, we have the word plus 10 pesos per kilometer, and we have the base rate of 20. So, this is just an example earlier about the worker that I have shared to you. So, of course, letter C and letter D is already wrong because they are using a minus. Right. Now, where is the correct answer for these two? Now, as you can see here, the 20 pesos is the base rate, and then the 10 pesos per kilometer. So, the per kilometer here represents the x. So, that would be 10 times per kilometer. So, that is 10x. And the 20 here as the base will be plus 20. So the correct answer, my dear math learner, is letter A. Very easy, my dear math learner. So I hope you got that one. If you do have some questions or confusions in our questions, do not hesitate to put it in our comment section below. Now let us go to question number 16. If we wake up early, then we can catch the bus. The hypothesis is it A, we wake up early, B, we catch the bus, C, if we wake up early, or D, then we catch the bus. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, this is an example of an if and then statements. Now, in the if and then statements, the statement after the word if is known as the hypothesis. Then the statement or the clause after the word then is the conclusion. So the question here is, what is the hypothesis in the given statement? So what is the clause or statement after if? So that is, we wake up early. So the correct answer for this question is letter A. Let's check whether we are correct. All right, we are correct, my dear math learners. I hope you got that one, my dear. All right, now let's go to question number 17. The conclusion of if a figure is a square, then it has four equal sides is A, the figure is a square. B, the figure has four equal sides. C, if it's a square. Or D, then it has four sides. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. All right, my dear math learners. So as what I've said earlier, for the conclusion, it is the clause or the statement after the word then. So that is, it has four equal sides. So where is that here? Of course, that is the correct answer for letter B. All right.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. So now, you might ask me, sir, how about letter D? Then it has four sides. Now, for the conclusion, it will not be getting the if and then statement or the if and then words. So for hypothesis, the if is not included. For the conclusion, the then is not also included. All right, I hope that is clear, my dear math learners. Now, let us go to question number 18. Which of this is the if-then form of all squares are rectangle? Is it A, if it is a square, then it is a rectangle? B, if it is a rectangle, then it is a square? C, if it is not a square, then it is not a rectangle? Or letter D, if it is not a rectangle, then it is not a square? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners. So, the statement given here is all squares are rectangles. So, the first statement is all squares. So, that will be our if statement. Alright? And then, our rectangles is basically a conclusive statement. So, that would be our conclusion. So, therefore, if we wanted to transform this statement into an if and then form, then we could say, if it is a square, then it is a rectangle. All right, so that is letter A. All right.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 19. What is the inverse of if a number is odd, then it is not divisible by 2? Is it A, if a number is divisible by 2, then it is not odd? B, if a number is not odd, then it is divisible by 2. Or letter C, if a number is even, then it is not odd. Or letter D, if a number is not divisible by 2, then it is odd. Alright, so I will give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners. Now, what we have here is the inverse statement. So we need to find the inverse statement. So, question is, how do you know what is an inverse statement? So let me just show you this given form. All right, so we have here the conditional statement. So that is the if and then, right? So in the if and then statement, we have if A, then B. So that is, if a number is odd, then it is not divisible by 2. So that is if A, then B. All right, so we are finding the inverse. So in the inverse, it means that it is just the negation of both A and B with the same context. So we have, if not A, then not B. All right? So we just need to negate the first statement, then also negate the second statement. So how do we do that? All right. So if, in that case, if a number is odd, so in negation, that would be if a number is not odd. All right. So this one, letter A, is wrong. Okay. This letter C, if a number is even. So that is the basic inverse of odd. Okay. So that might be correct. Letter B, if a number is not odd. All right. That can also be correct. If a number is not divisible by 2. So this is not the one. Letter D. So we only have B and C. Now, as what being stated in the inverse statement, the B should also be not. Okay. Or in negation. So not B. So then it is not divisible by 2. So what is the negation of not divisible by 2? So, of course, we just omit the word not. So, it is divisible by 2. So, then, where is that one? Okay, so, letter B is our correct answer.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. So, I hope you got that one. Now, let us go to question number 20. What is the contrapositive of if x is equal to 5, then x plus 1 is equal to 6? Is it A, if x plus 1 is not equal to 6, then x is not equal to 5? B, if x plus 1 is equal to 6, then x is equal to 5. C, if x is equal to 5, then x plus 1 is not equal to 6. Or letter D, if x is not equal to 5, then x plus 1 is equal to 6. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, what we have now here is we need to find the contrapositive statement of this one. Okay, so the conditional statement says if x is equal to 5, then x plus 1 is equal to positive 6. Now the question is, what is a contrapositive? Okay, so now let me show you the given denotation for contrapositive. So we have here the contrapositive. If not B, then not A. So what we need to do is we will reverse our the conclusion, make it into a hypothesis, and then our hypothesis becomes a conclusion, but both of them will be in negation. All right, so let us check that one. So x plus 1, the negation of that is not equal to 6. 1. All right, so we already have the correct answer. That is letter A. So letter B, C, and D are the wrong answers because contrapositive is the negation of B goes to the negation of A. All right, so I hope, my dear math learners, that is clear to you. If it doesn't, just repeat this question and understand the discussion I have given you. My dear math learners, I'd just like to congratulate you for getting halfway of our reviewer series. I hope in your pen and paper you have a bigger score for our discussion, and later on you can share it to our channel what score you got in our reviewer series. Now let us go to the last half. Question number 21. What is the equivalent of the conditional statement if a figure is a square, then it is a rectangle? Is it A, if it is not a rectangle, then it is not a square? B, if it is a rectangle, then it is a square? C, if it is not a square, then it is not a rectangle? Or letter D, if it is a square, then it is a circle? Alright, I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, of course, among the 4 choices here, letter D is automatically wrong because it pertains square and circle, where our discussion or our conditional statement is square and rectangle. So letter D is already eliminated in our choices. Now, what do you mean by equivalent of the conditional statement? Now, among the statements given earlier, the conditional statement has an equivalent. And the equivalent of a conditional statement is basically the contrapositive statement. Now, if you could remember the previous question about contrapositive statement, it is the negation of the conclusion, then the negation of the hypothesis. Alright, so the negation of the conclusion is this one. It is a rectangle, so it is not a rectangle. So if it is not a rectangle, should be the first statement. Okay, we already have our correct answer, and that is letter A. Alright, let's check. Alright.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. So the technique here is very simple. You just need to understand the logic between the contrapositive, the inverse, and the converse, as well as its conditionals. Okay, so I hope that's clear to you, my dear math learners. Now let us go to question number 22. Question number 22. In the statement, if a triangle has equal angles, then it is equilateral. The equivalent converse is, if a triangle is not equilateral, then it does not have equal angles. B, if a triangle is equilateral, then it has equal angles. C, if a triangle has equal angles, then it is not equilateral. Or letter D, if a triangle is equilateral, then it does not have equal angles. Alright, I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners. Now, what we have here is we need to get the converse, the equivalent converse of this given conditional statement. Now, let me show you what converse means. Alright, so we have here the converse is basically the opposite or the exchange of the conclusion and the hypothesis, but no negation is being applied. So, if B, then A. Alright, so from the conditional statement, if A, then B, in order to get the converse statement, you should just consider if B, then A. Alright, now applying this one, what is that, my dear math learners? So if B, then A, that would be if a triangle is an equilateral. All right, where is that? Triangle is not, so this is wrong because it is already a negation. If a triangle has equal angles, if a triangle is equilateral. So what we have here is if B, right? If B, so this is correct for the first statement. If a triangle has equal angles, so this is already wrong. Okay, if a triangle is equilateral, so both of them has the correct first statement. Then now we have then A. So then A, this is the A. A triangle has equal angles. So that would be then it has equal angles. So this one is a negation. So the correct answer, my dear math learner, is letter B.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. Now let us go to question number 23. Which of the following is the contrapositive of if x is greater than 3, then x plus 2 is greater than 5? A. If x plus 2 is less than or equal to 5, then x is less than or equal to 3. B. If x plus 2 is greater than 5, then x is less than or equal to 3. C. If x is less than or equal to 3, then x plus 2 is less than or equal to 5. Or letter D. If x is greater than 3, then x plus 2 is less than or equal to 5. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, if you can remember our statement earlier, the contrapositive statement is the equivalent of the conditional statement. It means that if the conditional statement is if A, then B, the contrapositive would be if not B, then not A. Now, let me just show you to you. If not B, then A. Alright, so basically, we will start with our conclusion. So the negation of x plus 2. Alright, so how do you negate the greater than? So the opposite of greater than is less than or equal to. So that is if x plus 2 is less than or. Okay, so letter A is correct for the first statement. Letter B is wrong. Letter C is wrong. And letter D is already. So we already got the correct answer, my dear math learners. That is letter
Easy, right?
A. Okay, so if it is A, then B, then for the contrapositive, it would be if not B, then not A.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear butlers. I hope that is easy to you. So let me just show you to you. So let me just remind it to you, my dear butlers, that this is what I'm talking about. All right. So for converse, B and then A. Inverse, if not A, then B. Contrapositive, if not B, then not A. So as you can see here, conditional statement and converse statement are the same, not using negation, but they are interchanging. Okay. While the inverse is the negation of conditional statement and the contrapositive is the negation of the converse. Alright, so I hope that's clear to you, my dear math learners. Now, let us go to question number 24. What type of reasoning uses specific cases to form a general rule? Is it A, inductive reasoning, B, deductive reasoning, C, analogy, or D, contradiction? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, for this question, what we need to do is basically know the definition of one of the reasoning here. Now, it is from the specific to general rule. So, from small going to a broader discussion or reasoning. So, that is not the actual way for the deductive reasoning, because deductive reasoning is from the bigger, from the general rule going to specific. Okay, so letter B is not correct. Now, that is the opposite of deductive. And what is the opposite of deductive reasoning? That is letter A. So letter A is our correct answer for this given question. Alright, I hope that you got that one. Alright, now let's go to question number 25. An indirect proof begins by assuming that, is it A, the statement is true, B, the statement is false, C, there is no contradiction, or letter D, all statements are true? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners. Now, in terms of indirect proof basically considers that all of the things in its surrounding is false. Alright? So, they will be trying to contradict the given statement. So, basically, correct answer for this given question is letter B. Alright, my dear math learners.
Easy, right?
Very easy. So, I hope that's clear to you. Now, let us go to question number 26. In an experiment where the effect of light on plant growth is measured, the dependent variable is it A, the plant growth, B, the amount of light, C, the type of plant, or D, the soil type? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. All right, my dear math learners, in this experiment or in this scenario, we have two variables, the effect of light and the plant growth. Of course, what is being talked here is that how will the plant grow? So the plant growth here is basically dependent on how much light is being given to the plant. So therefore, the dependent variable for this given scenario is the plant growth. Letter A, my dear math learners.
Easy, right?
Very easy. Now, why is it not the soil type? Because it is not given in the statement. Okay. Why is it not the type of plant? It is not also given in the statement. So, my dear math learners, you just need to know to analyze the situation. Now, let us go to question number 27. If a relation fails the vertical line test, it means that A, it is not a function. B, it is a function. C, it has no domain, or D, it is undefined. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, this question is very, very easy because it is just the opposite of what we have talked earlier about the graph passing the vertical line test. If the graph passes the vertical line test, it is considered a function. Now, of course, when it fails the vertical line test, then it is considered not a function. So the correct answer is letter A.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 28. A point where a line crosses the y-axis is called A, y-intercept, B, x-intercept, C, midpoint, or D, endpoint. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, this is one of the easiest questions. Why? Because we are just finding the definition when a point where a line crosses. Okay, so meaning that is the graph and then the y-axis. So if the graph and the y-axis intersect, okay, what do you call that point there? So basically, that point there is what we call y-intercept. Very
Easy, right?
Very. So of course, otherwise, if the point where the line crosses the x-axis, then that is what we call x-intercept. But in this question, y-axis is being the one crossed by the line. Alright, now let us go to question number 29. If f of x is equal to 2x minus 4, what is f of 5? Is it A, 10, B, 6, C, 4, or D, negative 2? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Right, my dear math learners, this question is very, very easy. Why? Because what we need to do here is you just substitute the value of x by this 5 value here. So that will become 2 times 5. Okay? Then minus by 4. So 2 times 5, that would be 10 minus 4. Of course, you already know the correct answer. And that is positive 6. Now let us check whether we are correct. Alright.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. Now, let us go to question number 30. In the statement, every natural number is a whole number. The hypothesis is A, every number is natural. B, every natural number is whole. C, the number is natural. Or D, whole numbers are natural. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. So, my dear math learners, in order to answer this question, so what we need to do here is to transform this every natural number into a statement. So every number is natural, every natural number is whole, so that is already wrong because it considers already the second statement wrong. Whole numbers are natural, so the second statement, whole numbers, that is also wrong. So which among this is the correct answer? So the correct statement here is that every natural number is a whole number. So we are talking that if the number is natural. Okay, so if you try to change it into an if-then statement, so the hypothesis would become the number is natural. Because if you try that, if a number is natural, it is very different from if every number is natural. So it is already not a statement for hypothesis. So the correct answer is letter C. Alright, we are correct, my dear math learners. Congratulations for finishing the 3/4 or the 75% of our reviewer series, my dear math learners. So now let us go to the last 10 questions. Question number 31. Which of the following points do not lie on the line y is equal to 3x minus 2? Is it A, 2, 4, B, 1, 1, C, 0, negative 2, or D, 3, positive 8? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, what you need to do here is basically to do the trial and error. How? The values given in our choices, alright, this will be served as your x, this will serve as your y, okay? Of course, this manner, this will be your x, and this will be your y. This will be your x, your y, this will be your x, this will be your y. So, if you change the value of x here by the x given, it should satisfy the value of y. So let's consider positive 2. So 3 times 2, that is 6. 6 minus 2, that is positive 4. So this is correct. Now we are finding do not lie. Alright. So how about choice B? X is 1, then it will become 1. So if x is 1, so 3 times 1, that is 3. 3 minus 2, that is positive 1. This is also correct. Alright. But it does not answer our problem. How about letter C? 0 and negative 2. If x is 0, so 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 2, that would be negative 2. This is also correct. So automatically, the correct answer for our problem is letter D. Alright, let's check whether we are correct. Alright, we are correct, my dear math
Easy, right?
learners. Alright, so question is, if we consider 3, it will become 3 times 3, that is 9. 9 minus 2, that would be 7, not 8. Okay? So it satisfies the question that is being asked in question number 31. I hope you got that one.
Easy, right?
Now let's go to question number 32. For a function, g of x is equal to negative 2x plus 3. Find g of negative 1. Alright, is it A, 1, B, 5, C, negative 1, or D, positive 3? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners. So basically, this is just the same as evaluating a function. So what we can do here is, of course, to substitute negative 1 to the value of x here. So that will give us negative 2 times negative 1 plus 3. Now, negative 2 and negative 1, when you multiply it, it will become positive, right? So this will become positive 2 plus 3, which is equal to 10, positive 5. So the correct answer is letter B. Let's check. All right, we are correct, my
Easy,
dear
right?
math learners. Now, let us go to question number 33. If two angles form a linear pair, the sum of their measures is it A, 90 degrees, B, 180 degrees, C, 360 degrees, or letter D, 45 degrees? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, now talking about a linear pair, it means that one angle, right, like this, and another angle, like this, when they are being formed, there will become one straight line. So that is a linear pair. Now, if you have a straight line, what is the measurement of that one in degrees? Alright, so the correct answer for that question is letter D. Alright, very easy, my dear math learners. Now, let us go to question number 34. Which of the following relations is a function? Right. Is it A, 1, 2, 1, 3, B, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, C, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 5, or letter D, 7, 8, 8, 7, or 8, 8? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, this question is very, very easy. It is just the same earlier as what we have. So in order for a relation to become a function, the value of the x coordinate should not be repeating. So A is repeating, that is wrong. B, it's not repeating. C, it's repeating, the 5 there is repeating, right? That's wrong. Letter D, 8 here is repeating in the x coordinate. So this is also wrong. So the correct answer is letter E.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 35. The y-intercept of the equation y is equal to 4x minus 5 is it A, negative 5, B, positive 5, is it letter C, negative 4, or letter D, positive 4? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. All right, math learners, this question is very, very easy because our linear equation here is already in the form y is equal to mx plus b, where b there is the constant and b there is basically our y-intercept. So this is mx plus b. So our b here is this one, the y-intercept, negative 5. So the correct answer is letter A. All right.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 36. What is the inverse of if a student passes the test, then they studied? Is it A, if a student studied, then they passed the test? B, if a student did not study, then they did not pass the test? C, if a student did not pass, then they studied? Or letter D, if a student did not pass, then they did not study? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, math learners, if you remember the relationship of our conditional statements earlier, in order to get the inverse of the conditional statement, what we need to do is you just get the negation of the conditional statement. So if A, then B for the conditional statement, then in order to get the inverse statement, it should be if not A, then not B. Alright, so if a student passes the test, so it should become if a student did not pass the test. Okay, so here did not pass, did not pass. So letter A and B is already wrong. All right. Now, for the second statement, then they studied for B. So in order to get the inverse of that, then they did not study. Okay, so the correct answer is letter. All right.
Easy, right?
We are getting a hang of it, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 37. The range of the function h of x is equal to x squared for x is equal to the set negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2 is it A, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, B, 0, 1, 4, C, 0, 1, 2, or D, 1, 4, 9? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, in order for us to get the value of this question, what we need to do is consider the function. Alright, so here. So the function here is here, x squared, right? So the value of x here is negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So what we need to do is we just get the squared or the value of squared for this given number. So negative 2 squared, that will become positive 4. Negative 1 squared, that would be positive 1. 0 squared is still 0. Positive 1 is still 1. 2 squared is 4. So the repeating numbers are 1 and 4. So you can delete this one and you have 0, 1, 4. So that is letter B. Alright, we are correct, my dear math learners.
Easy, right?
Very easy. So now let's go to question number 38. Which of the following ordered pairs is not in the range of f of x is equal to x squared minus 1? Is it A, 1, 0, B, 2, 3, C, 0, negative 1, or D, negative 1, 1? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. Alright, my dear math learners, what we need to do here is to satisfy the correct pair. So if it is correct, then that is not the answer because we are finding the word not here, right? Okay, the not. So we are finding not here. All right. So if our value of x is positive 1, so that is 1 squared minus 1. So the answer for 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 1, that is 0. This is correct, but not the correct answer. All right. Now, how about letter B? If our x is 2, so that will become 2 squared, that will become 4. 4 minus 1, that is positive 3. Still correct. It satisfies the equation. How about letter C? We have here 0, so that is 0 squared. 0 squared is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So it is still the same. So therefore, it is automatic that our correct answer is letter D. Alright, we are correct, my dear math learners. So why letter D? Because if we substitute negative 1 here, that will become negative 1 squared, that is positive 1. 1 minus 1, that would be 0 and not positive 1. So the correct answer for this question is letter D.
Easy, right?
Very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to question number 39. If the person's income I depends on hours worked H, the dependent variable is it A, I, B, H, C, hours, D, both income and hours? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. All right, math learners, this question is very, very easy because it is already here. I depends on hours. So basically, the dependent variable is letter I.
Easy, right?
Very, very easy, my dear math learners. So now let us go to the last question. The domain of the function k of x is equal to the square root of x plus 4 is it A, x is greater than or equal to negative 4, B, x is greater than negative 4, C, x is less than or equal to 4, or D, x is less than to 4. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about your answer. All right, my dear math learners, how do we get the value of this one? So what we need to do is very simple. Okay, so this one, we will change this into the zero of a function, okay, in order for us to know the value. So we have the square root of x plus 4. So in order to get the value of x, we need to square the whole equation. So by squaring the whole equation, this will give us 0 squared is equal to x plus 4. All right? Because this will be cancelled and cancelled. So 0 squared is equal to 0. So x plus 4, of course, we just transpose the value of plus 4 there. So that would give us x is equal to negative 4. So therefore, the negative 4 here is very crucial. So that is letter C, wrong. Letter D, wrong. So we only have A and B. Okay, so let's check that C and D is already wrong. Okay, we already know that. Now, the question here, what is the domain? Okay, so how do we know the domain here, my dear math learners? Basically, we need to consider here as equals, right? So the equal sign is part of the solution. So where is the equal sign in this one? And that is letter A. So the correct answer is letter A. It should be x is greater than or equal to negative 4. So negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, and so on. All right, we are correct, my dear
Easy, right?
math learners, and that is very, very easy. So congratulations, my dear math learners. You have finished our reviewer series for the quarter 2 for the grade 8 examinations. Now tell me, what score did you get? Share this to our comment section below. This has been your YouTube Edu Creator Math Teacher Ash, and always remember, it is fun to learn mathematics if we are together learning. If you think that this video can help every student in the high school or in any way, please, hopefully you can share this, like this. Thank you, math learners. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Good luck, and consider this a congratulations to you. Take care, keep safe, everyone.
I got a taste of the real world. I got battered on the North Shore. It gave me comfort when I always knew that. I always knew that you were there for me next door. I lived it hard on the long road. I ran through every single zip code. I get lonely, but I always knew that. I always knew that your heart I could call home, and nothing could ever stand in our way.